Hey everyone, Simon back here for the Modern Awakened Perspective, your map for the path to enlightenment. And I'm going to do a video here on my sign that I had up today. It says, face your stuff. But what it means is, face your stuff, don't stuff your face. Now this is something that applies directly to me, and I thought it might be something other people would like to hear about as well. Now, before I get into the story, everyone give me a thumbs up if you like this sort of content. This will be a little different than most of my stories. This is more about me and how this personally affects me. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have, I really do appreciate your support. Helps the channel grow and helps people find this content down the road when they go to search for it. So let me talk a little bit about this sign and what this really means to me. Again, this is face your stuff, don't stuff your face. This is a quote that I heard maybe, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and it really resonated with me. It's really something that applies to me in my life. I made a lot of changes in my life for the positive over the last few years. Once I started waking up and going down this path to enlightenment. But one of the hardest things for me to change and improve in my life is my diet and how food affects me and how my relationship with food is and how it has been. So if you've watched some of my previous videos, I talk a little bit about the keto diet, and that has actually been very beneficial to me. I've lost quite a bit of weight from that. I'm much healthier than I used to be. I try to eat better than I ever have, but I have a strange relationship with food. I've used food in different ways to celebrate accomplishments and also as a way to comfort myself, you might say, when things aren't necessarily going well. I guess there's a certain endorphins or whatever released in your brain when you eat food, and so sometimes that was the only sort of high or comfort or whatever you'd call it that I would be able to get my hands on. So I have always had trouble eating the wrong kind of foods also, especially sugary stuff. I've had a lot more trouble trying to eliminate sugary foods from my diet and like sodas and things like that than I ever did have trouble getting rid of carbs, things like that. For some reason, sugar is like my weakness, my vice, and I am working on it. I am getting better on it, but things seem to go in cycles where I'm doing well and then I'll have a slight backslide or whatever. Now, I play a lot of sports, so I'm not physically out of shape too bad, and playing sports allows me to eat a lot of food and still not get obese or heavily overweight. I have been a little bit overweight times throughout my life, and this goes all the way back to when I was 4 or 5 years old. And I know through doing what they call shadow work, where basically you're looking at how things negatively affect you and prevent you from becoming your best self, and then working on that to try to correct those cycles and correct those issues. That's the shadow work. And going back and kind of looking at myself, and I've made a lot of improvements, like I said, but my relationship with food has been one of the hardest ones. And let me tell you a brief background of how this started. Like I said, around 4 or 5 years old, my mother was burned pretty severely and spent 3 months in the hospital. Her boyfriend lit a brush fire that he had poured tons of gasoline on, and when it ignited, it caught her fire as well, and she had to have many skin grafts, etc. So while she was in the hospital for 3 months, my uncle took care of me, and he was a really, really big guy. And I think my food issues kind of started around that time, because before then I was a pretty skinny, normal kid. But he piled food on my plate and basically stood over me and intimidated me, threatened to beat me, and did whoop me, probably more than anybody else ever in my life. My grandmother did, probably my mom did, not that much, but he was the main one, the disciplinarian kind of, they would get the belt out and whip me. And so he was an intimidating factor at 6'4", 6'5", 380 pounds, whatever he was. A pretty big guy, out of shape himself. So I know he had food issues as well, probably. But he kind of passed this on to me, and would force me to eat the amount of food that he put on my plate. And so there's some sort of connection there, which I'm still not at the root cause of, but I'm getting better at understanding my relationship with food. And so it kind of all goes back to that, I believe. When my mom got out of the hospital and was able to see me again, she said that she didn't actually even recognize me because I had gained so much weight during that 3 months. And I was really overweight for a long time. It wasn't up until high school that I started to maybe do something to reverse that. I started playing basketball and riding a skateboard and doing a lot more physical activity to try to get into better shape. And now I'm 43 years old. I'm still working on this, getting better, and I believe I will be able to conquer it. Like I said, I go through cycles where I'm doing really good, but I'm not perfect yet. Still, the biggest hurdle, it seems, for me to overcome right now. And I will never give up for sure, and I think I will be able to beat it. For some reason, sugar is my weakness, and I'm not saying that because you know, to feel sorry for myself or to make excuses. It's just, it is what it is. For some reason, I've been able to kick many other bad habits in my life that some would think would be even harder to kick, but for some reason, sugar is what's tough for me at the moment. I do intermittent fasting. In fact, I even fasted for three days straight a couple weeks ago, where I didn't eat at all. And so I have some pretty good willpower, some pretty good discipline, but this is a pretty ingrained piece of baggage, or whatever you might call it, when it comes to me personally. So I don't know. I'm sure everyone's different. Everyone has different baggage. But this applies directly to me, and it may apply to some of my viewers, so I wanted to explain what this means to me. You have to face your stuff, not stuff your face. So by facing this head on is how I'm going to make progress and hopefully gain back control over food and the relationship that I have with it. So if anyone wants to add to this story, or you know, give me encouragement or tell their story or whatever it may be, please feel free to do so. As usual, the comment section will be open, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So that's it for this video. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.